others?
My name's Kokoto. This is my second time. My first time was 2 years ago, so I'm pretty much still a newbie at this. I guess I'm here 'cause working a 9-to-5 job started to feel pointless. Your turn.
One cannot escape from the shackles of destiny. Are you all ready to face the challenge? Want to pass through me? You have to pay the price. No armor is strong enough for this. Dissolve in your last breath. My snail is breasted and ready. Taste the corrosion. It's okay. Hold my hand.
Hello.
Hey, Sky, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Great. Yeah, it's been a long day. I was eating brunch with my parents, and I had to take me a quick little nap right quick.
That
So,
sounds fine. It's totally fine. I would probably do the same thing. Yeah, I like had a fun night last night too, so like I went to bed late and I also took a nap like earlier too. So,
uh,
yeah.
you didn't do too much, did you?
No, no, no.
Well, how's your day going?
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty chill. Pretty chill
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, is it in California, is it sunny outside?
Yeah, right now it's sunny. We're going through a little bit of a heat wave right now, so it's been a little warm. But I live by the ocean, so it's a little bit cooler where I live, but when I have to go to the studio, it's so hot. It's so hot up there.
Yeah. Yeah, over here it's raining, like it's coming down.
Dang. I feel like, yeah, we need that right now, actually.
Oh, see, I want the rain?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think like Californians, like we have like love-hate relationship with the rain. Like we think we see it as snow. So like if it starts raining, we're like, oh, it's raining. I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm one of those people. Some people do like the rain, like to go out in it, but when I see the rain, I'm like, oh, never mind. Maybe I'll just do my what I wanted to do tomorrow or something.
Okay. I
Yeah.
understand. But yeah, it's been raining all summer over here in Georgia. So
Oh, that makes sense. If you want to something else, another another thing rather than rain.
yeah. Well, oh, you're on my to-do list today. Thing is, I'm actually taking, it's my mom's birthday coming up this week, so we're gonna check out the Spider-Man movie tonight, finally.
Ooh, yay, exciting. I
The,
know
the
that's on my to-do list this week too. So,
yeah, the thing is, the reason why all the movie theaters were booked is because it's those darn kids. This is their last
Mm.
movie before, like I said before, this is their last movie before they have to go to school tomorrow.
Oh, wow. You guys are starting over there, starting a lot early. Like I think for us it's like more mainly like the middle of August where like the school starts again or yeah, even like the end of August sometime. So, wow, I feel bad that they have to go back to school so early.
Hey, that's what you get for living on the East Coast.
I guess.
So, well, if the small talk is over, I guess we can get this main party started, shall we?
Yay. Yeah.
So, so greetings everybody. This is Phil. I'm host of the Conversation Podcast, and the season 3 premiere continues. So, I have a special guest with me here today. Introduce yourself. Who is Sky Santacruz I'm speaking to?
Yes, hello. Nice to meet you. I am Sky Santa Cruz. And yeah, I'm a voice actor. I've done a few cool projects. Svetlana from Sunflower Show, Grow Up Circus, sorry. Yugiri from Chernova, Forensica from Path to Nowhere, etc. Yeah, etc.
There you go. Hey, listen, you ain't gotta name all of them. So
Yeah.
you got a few good ones in.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay.
And so, but overall, Sunday's going great so far, right?
Yeah, so far so good. So far so good.
So, yes, I'm glad. So, like I said before, y'all got the sunny side. I'm stuck here with the rain. So,
Mm.
it's fine though. It's not bothering me.
All right, that's good.
So, now before we get into it, let's start with a little bit of an icebreaker. So, now I got one question for you. Is there any places that you plan to go to, like travel this fall?
Oh, not sure about like this fall. But hopefully by the end of like in the summer of like next year, like hopefully like Japan. Like for like my honeymoon because I am getting married in the fall. So that's like our dream.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's our like dream to go to Japan. My fiance's been to Japan, but I haven't been to Japan yet, so I've always wanted to go. So I'm like, you know what? Yes, we're gonna do it for this
Well,
special
hey,
occasion.
I'm trying to get there too.
You'll get there. I believe. I've been wanting to go for so long, and I feel like everyone has been going to Japan recently or like over like yeah, the past like year or so. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could be like you guys." But my time will come. Your time will come.
So listen, you're like the second person that I've had on this show, and this there was another person I interviewed back when I ended season 2 2 months ago. She's getting married as well, so they're still planning
Oh,
out their van, and they went to Japan when she got engaged.
nice. Wow, okay. That's like a really nice engagement then.
There you go, there you go. Shoot, how long? So when y'all doing? Y'all still playing the venue and everything?
Oh, I mean, it's now a month away since it just turned like August. So it's in the beginning of September.
September is my
Yeah.
birthday month.
Oh wow. Yeah, so we're getting down to the wire. So everything is finally coming together and I think now is just like the final touches and things like that. So yeah, it went by fast. Like
We
the whole year planning.
Well, those weddings are expensive, and you can only have so many guests. Any of your coworkers, any voice actor friends coming in?
Yeah, I think I kind of invited like some of my like closer like voice actor friends to come. At first, I kind of wanted to. We kind of had a bigger guest list, and we have like a lot of like family members like on both sides. So I wasn't sure yet, but then finally towards the end, I was like, okay, I can invite like some of my new friends. So I'm excited. They're excited too. Like, so, yeah.
Because I know some of you guys, as you know, like it's not like those big top tier VAs you could get, right? You only got a few closest, like small VAs kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So like some of them who are like on like my like same like level where like we're up and coming, I guess.
Well, hey, but it still counts. It still
Yeah, no,
counts.
I'm like I love them. They're amazing. They're my friends.
Well, shoot, I hope you save me some wedding cake. But actually, the person I told you, she said she's going to save me some wedding cake for her wedding. So I'm guessing I don't need another wedding cake.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like our wedding cake will be kind of small. So yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's sorry. Sometimes we thinking, man, shoot, ooh, some of my friends getting married. I say, I hope they save me some cake.
The cake
So,
is the best part. At least like for me, like I enjoy sweets. So
they, listen, I'm at least when I be saying, I be quoting stuff like from the Left for Dead too. I was like, shh, you don't see the waiting cake around here. I ain't seen none, Coach, but I'll yell if I do. Coach, I'll keep an eye out for some, okay, buddy? But here's the thing: throughout the campaign of Left 4 Dead 2, ooh, all they found was guns and ammo stations, and the coach was like, "Damn, no cake." I just wanted to throw that in there to see how you feel about that.
no, I'm like that's funny. That's funny.
So, well, shoot. I hope you have a great wedding. Well, shoot, you better show me some pictures.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll probably post like some photos like on like Instagram and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, hey, I'll make sure to add you to my story. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, I gotta support my friends when I can.
I appreciate that.
Well, now that the icebreaker's broken, because we unpacked a lot with the wedding and traveling stuff, so that
Mhm.
counts as an icebreaker. So
Yeah.
the way I've done this. So I think you already saw the questions I sent you, right?
Yep. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, good. Because, like I said before, I want to make sure you guys have the questions before we get into the main thing. Okay, so you can look them over. So, I'm also going to try to put this into two parts if possible. Because, just to make it go faster. Because sometimes I do questions one by one, but sometimes they connect with each other to make it go easier. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, let's go into section one, finding her voice, which is you. You're her. Now, every voice actor has an origin story. When you look back at your journey, what moment truly changed your life from someone who loved performing to someone who knew this career was meant, sorry, someone who knew this was the career I was meant to pursue? And part two, success is usually built on hundreds of no's before hearing one yes. Can you take us back to one rejection or obstacle that ultimately made you a stronger performer?
Yeah, so my kind of like voice acting origin story is a little bit like different than others. I think some of my fellow voice actors like they maybe like always loved like performing or like did theater like when they were younger and stuff like that, but I did not do theater. I was actually like a very like shy kid and stuff like that. So I did like a lot of like performing arts, I guess. I was in like concert band. I was in dance and like in middle school and then my high school like dance teams and like stuff like that. And I did art too. And it wasn't until later in my life, when I met my fiance, that he was a voice actor first. And I always loved like video games, like anime and like, also like voice actors too. Like I would watch like panels of my favorite like series and like like Q&As that they would do. And it just never clicked for me that I could do that until I saw somebody doing it, which was my fiance. And then I started to give it a try. Like he took a break and he hasn't like gone back to it, but I kept going. So like I remember just doing the first like audition like ever. It was like on Casting Call Club. And like from then I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so fun. I love doing this. I want to, keep auditioning for things and like figuring out more on like how to be a voice actor, right? So going online, looking at classes, integrating myself into the community, kind of like seeing everything. So yeah, that's like that part for sure. And then I think like going back to like rejections, I think there's like so many times like as a voice actor that you experience rejections. And I think looking back now, there was like one in particular where I really wanted like to be a part of like this game. And then now I don't think the game ever came out or anything, which is really funny now because I really wanted to be a part of it and I kept auditioning and auditioning and auditioning. And then eventually I did get to be like part of the project, right? But now like looking back at it, it's like, oh, like well, I don't even think anyone got to like hear my voice in it. So now when I kind of like think about like rejection and I do get rejected for a thing I really wanted, which still happens. I'm like, it's okay. Like, yeah, that was really cool, but at least you got to audition for it. And then now at least I can pick myself back up after the rejection, right? Kind of when I first started, I would kind of get myself be lost in my feels a little bit more. Because, I didn't have a lot of other roles when I was like starting out to look back on and be like, okay, but look at all the other stuff that you've done. So now it's easier now to be like, all right, you did lose out on that role, but look at how far you come so far and like you just came out with like all this other stuff, so it's fine. You're gonna be fine and there's gonna be a lot of cooler projects that come your way. Yeah.
That is amazing. And yes, sometimes when we start to look for those careers we want to do for the rest of our life, we really have to think to ourselves, like, hey, like I've been through like the practices and the procedures. And listen, Sky, I know it's not easy doing something new. I know it's not. And mostly you have to deal with all those like, because here's the thing, like in this industry or whatever career, like you guys are consistently pumping out content for stuff for people to enjoy. And listen, it's not going to stop. It's going to be a never-ending thing. Like, shoot, they still producing all these things here, and I'm looking at all these trailers, doing analysis and stuff. And sometimes we have to think to ourselves like, hey, do I really want to do this kind of thing? Like I've been trying like so hard getting to where I need to be. And of course you heard of the term imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Gee, you know it all too well. So yeah, I will say this. Sometimes it can be like, positive. It could be a positive outcome. Or sometimes it can be a negative outcome. Because here's the thing, with you guys, you guys are busy auditioning every day. Like there's new stuff every day. And in your mind, you have to think, well, shoot, I got to make sure I'm doing something every day so I can make sure I have this role. Because at the end of the day, you guys are just trying to live. If you see where I'm going with this,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, it's just depending on how you make it to be. It determines is if you're going to enjoy doing this field or not. And there are some projects that maybe you just like. Have you? Well, let me ask you this. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Is there is there one project that you didn't like doing before? Like it wasn't your cup of tea?
I feel like maybe, but I feel like if I didn't have a connection to it, then I feel like eventually I would have just like left. And I think now, like from that experience, I've kind of learned like, oh, really? Like audition for things that you really want to be a part of, right?
Hmm.
And I think the main issue for me with like that past project, and it's happened to a few projects, right? Where they just never get off the ground, if that makes sense. And like I'm someone who wants to be able to have a portfolio of my work and be able to like showcase, everything that I have to offer, like acting wise and my skills. So I think it was just mainly like that kind of part. And there wasn't really a sure way answer of when it was going to come out. And that's not where I wanted to be, if that
Mm.
makes sense. Yeah, I know some things do take time, right? But at least from other projects where I've been on, like they've been pretty like proactive in their process and they have like timelines and now it is going to come out, right? Like so, and like I've seen the storyboards for it or like the actual like animatic and like stuff like that. So, I feel like a lot more comfortable staying there because they had a whole team ready to go and they really wanted to finish that project. So, yeah.
Well, and guess what? I'll say, and guess what? I learned this from my grandmother. Okay, there are some things in life we don't want to do, but we have to do it. And who knows? And who knows if you do something that listen, sometimes when places like LA or Texas do pump out stuff that you don't really like, but you have to do it, you may end up liking it in the end. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that too. Like when with things that you are kind of new to trying, like you're not sure like if you're gonna like it or not. I think like that with like my day job too. Like I was like a tutor like in college and like stuff like that, and I just didn't think I was gonna like that sort of thing. And then I ended up liking it, and I did like helping people, write their papers or looking at papers, like reading papers for English and like stuff like that. So yeah, I think like it really depends on like your perspective too. Like you can end up liking something in the end. Yeah.
And there's others, other saying, there's no saying. Choose a job that you love if you never have to work a single day in your life.
Yes. I love that saying.
There you go. And guess what? You seem to enjoying it. So to you, you don't see it as work. You see it as, something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's how I feel like going into a session sometimes. I'm like, even though like, I have to like drive to it or whatever, I'm like, but it's okay because I'm like, I'm doing something that I was like working towards for so long. So
Yeah.
that makes me happy in the end. I'm like, you know what? I don't care about traffic anymore.
There
It's
you
fine.
go. There
Yeah,
you go. So, hey, listen, and any day, every day you get a chance to work is a blessing. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
take it. Take it. Oh, next up, now looking at Sky Santa Cruz of today, you again, versus the person who first stepped into a recording session, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about yourself as both an artist and a person?
Hmm. Yeah, okay. So I still feel like I am learning this about myself, like still, right? It's an ongoing process. But I think a big thing that I learned is to be patient. Yeah, I think going back to like my earlier voiceover like journey, like when I was like first starting out, like I wanted a lot of things to just like move quickly and like stuff like that. But if they did, maybe I wouldn't get the opportunities that I have like right now if I just kind of like moved forward like super fast and didn't take the time to do more training or actually like work one on one like with a coach and stuff like that because that's super important, right? Working with someone, just you and them, not like in a bigger group of people, right? Because that's when you're going to get more individualized feedback. um and I think it is so true. So like going back to like my younger self, like starting out, I would be like, be patient. I know you don't want to hear that you have to be patient, but it is true. And like it is something that I have to remind myself now as well too, like to be patient on the journey and how, things are gonna come your way, they'll move the way that they're gonna move. Every person's journey is not the same, right? Because we're all different people. We've all had different backgrounds and stuff like that. So, yeah, some people's careers can move faster than other people's careers, and that's okay. Like, and eventually, if you just keep going and like keep putting yourself out there, keep trying, then it will happen. It is just a point of you not giving up and not being like, all right, I guess it's over. So yeah, that is definitely the thing that I still have to tell myself, but I'm definitely realizing now that it is true. Like I really just did have to be patient.
Well, and I'll say this too: comparison is the thief of joy.
Hmm, hmm.
Comparison, like there's so many of you guys, Sky, these days now. Like, shoot, back in the day, there wasn't a lot of y'all. But now, like in 2026, there's so many of y'all just competing just to. Well, okay, I wouldn't say competing. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Let's take out that word. Let's throw that word away. There's some of you guys just out there doing the best y'all can, getting all this amazing artwork for people to enjoy. Let's call it artwork. TV shows are art, movies are art.
Mhm.
All this stuff. There's because there's so many of y'all with stories to tell, and some of y'all may think yourselves as, oh, we're trying to do better against this guy, but and sorry, I'm venting here. I'm trying to gather my
No, you're
thoughts.
good.
So, like for example, you're in. Don't be mad at if I get this wrong, okay?
You're good.
Shinobi, right? Shinobi. That's what I got. Did I get it
Oh,
right?
Shibio Yugi.
She yo Hold on. Sorry. I'm trying to get it right. She
It's
yo
okay. The last name, their English name is also like really, really long, so it's kind of like either or. You're kind of struggling how to
Oh
learn how to
gosh.
say
Sorry.
it.
So Shiobi. Shiobi. I got it. Yes, I got it. Okay, Shiobi. Yeah.
Shibu Shibio Yugi.
Shibio Yugi. Shibio Yugi.
Yeah.
Got it. I got it now. You're in this show with some pretty high profile guests. Morgan Berry, Carol Buckland, Kaylee Mills. Was there another person in there that I'm not aware of? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, yeah. Listen, you as a person who's like, you just starting out, oh, right? I think how many years have you done this now?
5 years now. Yeah.
5 years. Okay, so you're with you're in a group that's done this for like 10 plus years now. So instead of pay attention to like what they done, their backgrounds, you guys are in here and you guys are all after the same thing. We're here to make this show and let people enjoy. And guess what? That's what some of these VAs are starting to understand. Like it's not all about, oh well, he's better than me. I can't do this kind of thing. No, you can't think like again, comparison's the thief of joy. You can't think like that. In the day, you guys are people. You guys are trying to live and you guys are trying to make these amazing stories. That's all y'all trying to do.
Hmm, hmm.
So sorry, I didn't know if you're going to respond to that kind of thing. I didn't know if you had a
Oh
response.
no, like, yeah, no, I just think that that's so true. Like, yeah, like we're all just like working towards the same thing. And it is kind of hard, right? Because we are all like, applying for the same role basically. And it really is kind of, who fits the role the best. And like, now that I've auditioned for stuff and I see who like gets the role, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, like that was like the best choice for the role, right? Because it sounds like so perfect. And there's like a lot of like care that casting directors like put into the shows, right? To get the vision of like the studio, and to match like the Japanese essence and like stuff like that. So, yeah, it really is like, the person who's like the best suited for the role, right? It doesn't mean anything bad about the other people who auditioned. It's just the right fit for it, you know?
Mhm. And I think what I've had to learn over the last year, we can't listen, even you guys, listen, even though you guys are still starting out, we can't underestimate the people who are just starting in the beginning. Ever
Hmm.
since I started talking to you guys, like I don't see y'all as voice actors anymore. I see y'all as people just trying to be successful in life. That's all y'all trying to do. Like shoot, I've been to a few cons, as you saw on my Instagram page. I've been to a few conventions. I've talked with these guys about certain things about life in general as well when they got time, and you know but that's the whole point. Like going to these things, interacting with your fellow VAs and everything. Ask them, hey, let's talk about this sort of thing that's going on. Sometimes you just gotta find, even with your directors too. You just gotta make sure you find common ground, just to have those kind of discussions as well.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I think as someone who grew up like being a fan and like things like that, and I think like once you kind of step into the shoes of the role of like someone that you've been like looking up to, like for a teacher as an example, right? Like I remember like there was a point in my life when, I saw like teachers as like above like everything, but at the end of the day, they were just people. So like voice actors too, I'm like now that I'm like doing this more, I'm like, wait, I'm just a little guy. Like I'm just a guy, doing voices in my booth and I do anime, so I do video games. Like and yeah. So that is so true. I'm glad that you see that because I think that's super important to remember. At the end of the day, we are people and we have feelings as well and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good thing to like learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And to
some,
know.
some of the, it's a listen. In high school, I was all in for the entertainment, but listen, I'm 25. I'm about to be 26 next month. So it's, I get to a certain age where it's like, instead of just seeing you guys, because back then, I just wanted to see you guys just talk, get your signatures and autographs. But now I'm a person who just wants to sit down and just talk to y'all one on one. Listen, it's part of growing up. You know Kayla Timshev, right? She came to me, I talked to her earlier this year, and she was saying, you're a human being, dude. That's the point of growing up.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true.
There you go. So sorry if I preached a long time there. I just want to get all my thoughts out and see what
No,
you
no,
think.
you're good. You're good.
All right. Last question, and then we'll be at your favorite section, okay? Deep dives. Okay. So now, when directors cast Sky Santa Cruz, you again, what do you hope they immediately recognize about you that makes you different from everyone else walking into that audition?
Um, oh my gosh. Well, I guess something is that I'm like ready to work, I guess, and like give it my best kind of shot. I think, yeah, like I'm not afraid to like take off my sweater if I need to and like put it down because I'm like that's bothering me. And like stuff like that. So I try to pride myself on like being ready to work as well and then also like match the vibes of like the director because every director that you're working with is going to be a little bit different. So I kind of also pride myself on like being able to like match the vibes of the room. So if like, the director is like wanting to like chat a little bit more with me, then we'll chat a little bit more, like have some good laughs. Or, if it's more of a time crunch, then I'm like, all right, I'm ready to try my best to give you that give you that like a perfect read in a couple of takes. We'll do this, we'll do this, we'll get to work. And yeah, and I guess like also like being kind like is a huge like thing like for me and respectful. yeah, that's like a big thing that I want to do, right? Be nice, be that I was nice to work with and things like that. Um, yeah, those are pretty much what I got there.
Yeah, and like I said, and and this is what goes back to I want to sorry. This goes back to what I was saying. When you do these things, you got to find common ground with your directors. Talk to them, have questions ready, and listen. And like you said, every director's going to be different. The atmosphere is going to be different too, not just
Mhm.
them. So you just got to be prepared for what's going to come next.
Yeah, yeah, and like that's something that I really had to like learn how to do like a lot like better, right? That everything's like different, every person is different. And I think like yeah, like that was strange for me to get used to at first because I think something about me is that, I get like pretty anxious sometimes or like nervous and like things. So things that would help me is kind of like knowing what's gonna happen, but for like when you're getting directed and stuff, like you don't really know what's gonna happen, and like you could be working with someone new and like right every single time or and stuff like that. So unlearning to like leave that at the door is like was kind of like difficult for me, but now that I just keep like doing it, it's been helping kind of ease those fears away, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's something that I had to like unlearn for myself, and I'm still unlearning to do sometimes because I still get in my head a little bit about it. But yeah,
Well, hey, just make sure you have like a stress toy,
yeah,
or
I
just,
do.
or
I
just,
have
or
like a little
just,
fidget.
or just say a quick prayer before you go in there.
That makes sense. Yeah,
There you go.
or deep breaths.
Deep breaths, these breaths. It's gonna work out. And I think, and listen, from the way I've been seeing your work, you're doing a good job. So you
Oh,
have
thank
a
you.
so you I don't think you have any problems.
I appreciate that.
So well, it's time for section two, the deep dives. So and I put in a few characters, so it's gonna be good, okay?
All right.
So let's start with Yuiguri from Stranovia. So,
Mm.
let's see. Yugiri carries a unique presence every time she appears on the screen. Now, beyond the dialogue, what emotional truths were you trying to communicate through your performance?
Yeah. So, for Yugiri, right, we as like voice actors, we normally, unless like the casting director or like the director gives us more information, like basically like what we get in the audition is kind of like the same or what the player of the game like knows about the characters, like that's pretty much what we know as well. So in like the specs, she was like raised in a lab, like a laboratory, and then eventually like escapes from it and like joins the place where like Inistranova takes place with like all like the other agents and like things like that, super string agents. So I kind of wanted to like in her voice to reflect what it would sound like, growing up in a lab like with not many friends, right? The people that you're interacting with are adults and like scientists and stuff like that. So yeah, she's not going to be bubbly and like outgoing, right? Because she's been sheltered like her whole life, and like a lot of the adults in her life have probably brought danger to her. So kind of more of like a breathy type of voice, quieter, like shy, like a little meek and stuff like that. It's kind of what I was going for to kind of embody her past um, in the game.
Well, again, you got to make sure and be like, hey, how can I put my personality into this character I'm doing? And
Mm.
and I know, I mean, also, I will. Okay, well, let me ask you another question. Did you have time to research too, or no? You didn't have time to research on her.
I think after I got the role, I think she wasn't actually a character that came out yet. So I did research on Stranova as like the game and like the other characters and like stuff like that and like what it was about beforehand. But since Yugiri was going to be the new character, she hadn't been released yet. There wasn't anything out. I think, since it was originally in like a Chinese game, so I think the Chinese game was ahead of the American version, so there was like
Okay.
a little bit of information about her. I'm like, it's been a while that I don't remember if it was before I did like the session or not that I saw the stuff, or if it was after. Sometimes I like after the session, I'm like, is there any updates on like when this character will come out? And I like search the web. So I'm like trying to see that, but yeah, there also wasn't like too much out there about it yet. If it was before my session or something, I feel like I maybe did the research afterwards. If once there were more information coming out.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I know with everybody, you guys have deadlines, and if there's not enough time to research, then we just gonna have to try to wing it a little bit. Just
Yeah.
ready to go. Because you know, listen, and this as again, sometimes you have time, sometimes you don't. Some of you guys over there in Texas or California will have time to do a little bit of research, read the manga first, or go online and read what the game is all about. Pretty much, you know yeah, it's you guys have just it's all about deadlines, and if you have time to see if you can get as much done before you get in. Listen, there's nothing wrong with there's no such thing as too well prepared. No
Yeah,
such thing as that.
definitely.
So
I'm like someone who likes preparing too. So if I can prepare, I will try to prepare. But yeah, most of the time, there isn't really anything online yet about the thing, or you don't know. They could have changed like the names of the characters a little bit, or the title of the show is a little bit different. So yeah, it's like all kind of like a gamble, or like you kind of just have to be ready for anything. But as soon as like for me, if I got the role and like I'm gonna be like working with the character a little bit more, like I want to do some more research on them, like if it's gonna be a lasting character, if there's information like that out there, right? Because there's anime without manga that exists too, so it's like,
true.
oh well.
Yeah, yeah. And just to make sure I understand, Shrinovia is a game, right? Or is it a
Oh yeah,
is it
it's a game.
okay? And how good is it? Is it on the App Store or Xbox? Where is it on? Which one's on?
I think it's on Steam still. I remember like they were trying to get it on mobile for a while, but I don't know if they are, but I know it was for free on Steam like for like PC. And I don't know if on other one consoles if it's out yet, but yeah. I've heard it is pretty fun from what I've seen. My fiance has like played a little and I watched some playthroughs. It looks cool to me.
Sky. What is you guys' obsession with Steam? I'm not
I don't
blaming you,
know.
but seriously, like, come on now. I mean, sorry, I'm just like, why y'all obsessed with Steam?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Oh well, I can't complain because well, don't forget, I also read that you also do indie games, so I really can't be mad either. So I
Yeah,
think
I've done
people
games.
are just starting. I think just people just starting to like the online games more than like the console games. Like shoot, I got an Xbox and Nintendo Switch 2 right here. By the way, I just got the new Halo game, so
Mm.
there's that. And plus, I also pre-ordered Gears of War E Day. I've been looking at some of the graphics on YouTube. It's really ooh, realistic.
Mm.
It's really realistic. But yeah, but going back to that, so yeah, so yeah, looking at like all those Steam and those games. So you say your fiance's played the games and it looks really good, right? Because I'm like, listen, every time when I talk to you guys, I want to be able to try out these new shows or games that y'all got going on. So, but I'm saying maybe I need to hear it from them first.
Yeah, I don't know. You can watch a trailer or something or see some like playthrough to see if you would like it. But yeah, before you download it. But
So
I think it's still free to download, so that's another thing.
there you go. Well, let's go into the next one. I should have made this into a two-part question, but I didn't. I got too sidetracked. Now, every character leaves something behind with the actor. After spending so much time with Yuguri, what part of her has stayed with you long after the recording sessions ended?
Yeah, so I would say like that voice type, like that I always say like once I get like on a groove of like a certain voice type for a while, so like for a couple months, like I'll get cast for a particular voice type, and then like for the next one it'll be like that other voice type and like stuff like that. So like they kind of flip flop. So I think Yugi's voice type, like I always like practiced it, right? Like or like trained with it. And then that was like the first major character that I got, and also like, big recording session that I had gotten. So like I had to like learn like how to, if I could prolong that for like 3 hours for a recording session. And it showed me that I could, right? So I was like, all right, so this really is a character type that I can have in my wheelhouse. So, when I got to do another audition for Mandelbrot Hall. I play Iris in it for the pilot that's coming out like in this fall. And that was like a couple
Um,
years ago. And like that voice type, I kind of was like, all right, well, what if she's also kind of sounds like this, but maybe a little bit like more like emotionless, right? But so I think Yugiri kind of taught me like I can do that voice type and I can keep auditioning and I can know that I'm going to be able to sustain it and it's going to be a character that I can do officially, right? So it gave me like the confidence that this was a character type that I can actually do and I can say that I'm good at. Yeah.
well, hey, you seem to make it work after looking at some of those trailers I saw last night. So I had to listen to the trailer and listen to your voice. I was like, yeah, she did that thing. She killed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and I know, like I said before, you just got to make sure you got to match, the vocal box into those
Mm.
games that you're doing. And yeah, it's not an easy task to do. You probably have to spend hours to get it right. If it's not right, the people are not gonna like it.
Yeah, yeah. And like a lot of the times like basically if you kind of are working with like the client too, like they're there to kind of see and the casting director, right? There's like the casting director and the client and like I'm working with the casting director, but the client is also listening in. So they're there to kind of make sure that, we're matching Jernova, like the character, right? So like if the director is like, oh yeah, like that sounds great, but the client will be like, oh, well, actually, I think like it's leaning into another character or something. So like, can we do that again? Right? So they can hear it if it doesn't kind of match what they're looking for. So yeah, you have to kind of be like ready to be able to switch back into that if you kind of slip out of it a little bit. Um, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I've been saying this as before. For why don't they do any bloopers or behind the scenes of what's going on in those studios? They do it with all the other stuff when they do like there's the movies and everything and TV shows. Why don't they do behind the scenes so we can see some funny moments? I'm just saying it could be
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but like I feel like back in the day for anime, they did that more, like with Full Metal Alchemist, like Brotherhood and like Ouran High School Host Club, like those like blooper, like behind the scenes, like those are like some of my favorite like memories as a kid. I used to like love those.
They need to bring that
So
back.
yeah, I feel like that would be fun, but I guess now because anime is so much more popular and like studios are now on like a time crunch because they're working on so many shows. Because if you think about it, back in the day, like we had to wait so long for a dub, it'd literally be like a year after the Japanese came out. And now I feel like new fans are so lucky, right? Because you just have to wait a day, or sometimes it comes out on the same day as the Japanese. So there's no waiting anymore. So yeah, I guess I feel like maybe it has to do with like the time, like management stuff of like the studios, but and maybe for video games, like the client is like worried about things get leaked or something, or I don't know, but yeah, but that would be fun. There are some stuff where I was like, oh man, like in the booth where I'm like, oopsies, like a vocal slip or something.
I got you.
Yeah.
True. And Scott, I know you have to do that, like make sure, like, not just for video games and plus with shows, because I know with so many shows come out, you're probably gonna start being in more shows now. So it's coming up, and you gotta make sure you match the voice type of all those characters that you do. Same thing, like sometimes you have to switch to video games, and sometimes you have to switch back to shows.
Yeah, yeah. It is kind of crazy sometimes. But thankfully, what I really liked about like working on these shows, like that immediately, like the first thing you do, like before you start recording, is that they play back like your original like audition file or like your vocal ref. So you can like make sure like you're in the voice like, before actually starting. So I'm like that really helps. Yeah, because sometimes like at least like when I was starting out like in like the indies space, like I'd have to listen to it like by myself a billion times. I'm like, okay, like maybe make sure like playing on my computer, like I'm like, does that sound right? To make sure I was like matching it. So now it's like really cool that for the shows they like want to make sure that you're in the voice for sure before you start recording, and it's nice that I have someone to help me do that now and I don't have to do it for myself.
Hey, you gotta make sure you have a good support system. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so well, we're out of that. Let's go on to the next character, okay?
Mhm.
Ashlyn from School Bus Graveyard. Now, School Bus Graveyard lives in a world filled with fear, uncertainty, and survival. Now, how did you balance portraying Ashlyn's vulnerability while making sure her strength still shine through?
Yeah, so I think I love Ashlyn, by the way. She is like one of my favorite characters that I've been like playing, and I feel like I'm gonna always remember her um and throughout my journey. But I think I really admire Ashlyn and like all that kind of stuff, and like her vulnerability and strength is something that I really hope to portray. And like thankfully, like it seems like a lot of people are really liking it, like the fans. But I think that I wanted to make sure I embody is to remember that even though Ashlyn is trying to be strong, like for her friends going through this really traumatic thing that's happening to them, is that she's also a teenager, right? And at the beginning of the story, she was just starting high school as a freshman. So I wanted to make sure that I am still young, right? I am still feeling these things, but Ashlyn has like a really good sense of like wanting to protect her friends and wanting to be the strong one for her friends. She kind of feels like I'm the only one who could be a leader for these group of people, even though I didn't want to. I'm gonna do it. So that's how I like make sure to do like both of those things to remember how old she is, right? Why is she doing these things? Because internally she does feel a lot of vulnerability, but she just doesn't tell her friends that much. And I think having that, all those thoughts internally in my mind kind of make sure to come out through the voice. I hope it does.
Don't you ever think that it's weird that you get to voice a character who spends life as an ordinary girl, but then
Mhm.
one day her life changes forever and now she's got to do all these crazy things?
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy. Um like I can't imagine like actually going through that in real life, like something traumatic, right? Like what I would do, but I feel like at least like she has like her friend group and that they're all going through this together. And I think that is like the one thing that is keeping them to keep going. Eventually like revealing it to like their parents too, that now that there's like adult figures who are also looking out for them and knowing that the phantom realm is real, phantoms are real, things like that, is also like a big thing. But yeah, like I think it is crazy to delve into that world for sure. I don't know what I would do if I was Ashlyn. I admire Ashlyn so much. I don't know if I would be able to do what she's doing, but I certainly would try. But yeah.
Wow, it's amazing stuff. Well, it seems like, and this is a show, right? Uh,
It's a webtoon, so
Webtoon,
yeah,
webtoon
like there's
series.
like yeah, webtoon series, and webtoon started working with like this company called Storyco to kind of turn their web comics into animated shorts. So right, so each chapter now is like can be animated and da, 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 da. I think we're pretty close to getting to releasing all of them. Almost all of them are released, and season 3 is coming out this fall. So I'm super excited for that to play Ashlyn again. It just got like announced, and all the fans were asking Me too now. Like, do you know when season 3 is coming? I'm like, I do not know. I don't know, guys. I'm also in the dark, like, yeah. So now
Hey,
everyone's happy. They have an answer.
well, hey, I don't want to know. I mean, I won't be surprised when it happens.
Yes, but I guess there was a bit of a hiatus for a bit, so a lot of people were waiting. So they thought when the animated shorts came out, or like the animated version of it would come out, that would mean that season 3 was around the corner. They were like, "Oh, is this going to be new content?" Um, but I guess they were right in a way. They just had to be a little bit more patient.
Wow. Well, I'm glad. I'm happy for you, Sky. Keep doing
Yeah.
this. Keep doing your thing on the webtoons. I got so much stuff I gotta watch now. I don't even have a webtoons account. I might need to make one. So,
Yeah, it
cause I'm
is free.
so I'm missing out. Listen, I got so many shows I gotta catch up. Listening to you, all these things. Oh, I got so much stuff to do. And I was supposed to do it this summer, but I was busy. But guess what? Since it's you, Sky, I will try to make time for you to watch your show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. The whole cast will appreciate that as well.
So,
Everyone is amazing.
so if they're listening to this, I'll try to make time for it.
Yay!
So, well, it's time for the next one. Let's see if I get correct me if I get this wrong. Okay, it's about Shibo Yugi.
There we go.
Ko Koki cute. I can't get it right. Hold on, hold on. Let me think. Um, Kokuto. Did I get it right?
Kokuto.
Kokuto. Okay, Kokuto from Shibuya. Kokuto exists in an incredibly high stakes environment. Now, what was the biggest challenge in making those intense moments feel authentic instead of simply dramatic?
Yeah. I think like my method is a little bit like method acting. I really like delve into like the character, the world, and like the moment. At least I try my best to, right? Because in anime, you definitely do have to do that, right? Because everything is happening so fast. Right after the fourth imaginary beep, that's you after listening to Japanese. So what for Kokoto, I really wanted to embody right the actual scene right and like who she actually was right compared to everyone else who was freaking out about where they were most of the well there was one character in particular she was pretty chill about it she kind of was prideful right because this is her second time playing the game so she's like oh my gosh like this is going to be a piece of cake and you guys should be listening to me because I survived this one time yeah so I know probably what's going to happen right she does not, she should have not been so prideful about that. Um, right, because the main character Yuki has like, I think it was like in her 40s or 60th game and like, playing like these death games and things like that. So for the character, like from what they told me about her, she was really chill about it. She's just a normal kind of person in this world. So that's what I kind of wanted to portray, right? She's not freaking out about the situation because she's done it before. So I hoped that was what came across, right? So someone chill, feels like they know what they're doing and that no demise is coming to them. So that obliviousness is also what I wanted to show too. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I've heard a few things about it ever since they announced the show and the cast. Now, correct. Now, let's see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but these guys are all maids too, right? Housemaids.
Yeah, so the first episode, I guess like throughout the series, like they are in like a different room with like different girls, right? And basically like it's like Squid Games. So there's
Oh,
people like monitoring like all the girls, right? And yes, it is a death game, right? There's only one victor or two victors at the end of like each round and I guess like for some, like, it could be less. I think in the end, like it'll say like, oh, like they're in the first episode, they were like, oh yeah, like there can only be like these many people on this elevator or something like that. So I haven't completed the entire like series, so I'm not sure if it's like each round is one victor or if it's like two or if it's a couple. So I can't like tell you all about that, but
It's
basically,
fine. It's
yeah,
fine.
like yeah. But basically, like, yeah, the main plot is like different every episode. So each time, like, you get like a new round of girls, except for Yuki, the main character, who is, being the one winner every single time. Because she's been doing this for a while. So yeah.
Oh man, that sounds interesting. Like Squid Game?
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much kind of like Squid Game. That's
oh,
what when I would explain it as to people to kind of get it, and they're like, "All right," but with just girls, pretty much, just all the players are girls.
oh my gosh. So pretty much somebody's got to sacrifice themselves so others can live, right? Or somebody, kind of thing. Have I got that right?
Yeah, kind of, and I think it
Oh,
also kind of plays with like the themes of like, all right, like, do you keep your humanity, or for your own survival, do you someone else
oh
take
shoot.
out someone else to survive? So
Well,
it kind of plays on those kind of themes too.
I hate to break it to you, Sky, but shoot, if someone's got to be sacrificed, I'm gonna be like, well, hey, somebody got to live to go tell the story. Somebody got to live to go tell the story. That's what I'd be like to listen. The reason why I'm saying that when I hear stuff like stuff like Shiba Yugi, Squid Games, and all that stuff, there's this game that I used to play. I don't play anymore. Back for Blood. There's this thing called the hag, and if you starve the hag, it's gonna come and eat you and run off with you in the stomach, which is kind of
Oh,
scary. And I was like, and I was telling, I was guess what? I left my uncle to be eating my hag. I was saying, you ain't gonna come save me. Sorry, somebody got to live to go tell the story. Oh my gosh.
dang. Well, I think that's basically Yuki, to be honest. She's like, I'll tell your story, guys.
Oh my
That's basically what
gosh.
she'd be doing, I think.
I thought it was just Maze just competing to be when I first saw it, I thought it was just Maze just competing to see who can do the better job or like or what was or just like beauty pageants or something. But I didn't know it was
I'm
this.
dead. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, looks could be deceiving.
Oh gosh. I got a question for you, Sky.
Mhm.
Would you leave me behind in the room if you had to live?
Would I what?
Would you leave me behind in the room if you had to survive to get out?
No, I would try my best. I would try my best to save you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I was okay, Sky, so you're not that cruel.
Yeah, no, no, no.
Okay. Well, shoot, I might have to see. Okay, now I got something else to add to my watch list to go check it out. See, listen, sometimes I want to see what it's all about. Let's take a little look. That's all. I just want to look at it, see what's going on in there. See, now you got me interested, Sky.
Oh, sorry.
Well, shoot, that's really amazing. So yeah, I guess those those kind of that kind of shows you basically have to be like, oh well, I'm a maid who's just trying to like survive in this mansion. But like you say, Yuki survives like every time, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I hope your character gets more love though.
Oh, well, you'll have to see.
Oh boy. I'll make sure to take a look. So um let's go on to Wilfred, Accidents of a Bookworm.
Mm.
So every fantasy world has its own rules and atmosphere. How do you mentally step into a universe like Accidents of a Bookworm and make your performance feel like it truly belongs there?
Yeah, so I feel like, also like kind of the same like thing, like method, like acting for me. So for Wilfried, right, I kind of was thinking about like, all right, so he this is he's definitely grown up into this like magical fantasy world, right? He's like not stepping into it for the first time. So, when he's seeing like magic happen in front of them or like a mystical creature of like some sort, yeah, he's definitely not gonna be like shocked or like surprised about like what is that thing? It's gonna be something that he's like read about or seen about or heard about like from his parents or has seen like magic actually and like stuff like that. So yeah, I think like definitely being able to, know the character, right? Like, what their background a little bit has been, the entire world, right? And like thankfully they tell you that too, like when you're kind of going into the session, like a little bit more about the show if like you didn't know like that much already. So that like all of that stuff like really helps, right, to embody first and foremost, right? Because for us, if it was I was playing myself, I'd have a completely different reaction to seeing magic or being in this fantasy world than someone like Wilfried does, for example.
Mm, well, it looks like you enjoy those fantasy worlds and stuff. Because I know sometimes as when you guys go into like isekais as well, another world, y'all have to like will really put on your game faces, be like, okay, we're in a different world. Let's see if we can put more of that, another world esque into these plays that we do, because there's a lot of story to be told about. Hey, this is like a different universe. Like, what's it like? Like, pretty much you have to think to yourself, like, how's this going to be like? Because listen, I've seen a lot of shows, including Suicide Squad Isekai, when they're in a different. I was like. Oh, ooh, this is different from what DC Comics usually shows us. Usually they're like in a different country or something, not like the 2021 film Suicide Squad. It's but yeah, it's this is like very different. And I don't know if you saw Suicide Squad Isekai. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I have not, but I mean, I'm familiar with like the comics and like some of the movies, things like that. Yeah.
It's trust me, it's really good. Sky, you should check it out. Trust me, check it out. It's really worth your time. So yeah, so those fancy worlds, you have to like sometimes you have to understand like the whole rules and the laws of physics. Basically, it's kind of like, oh well, magic, science, magic is pretty much a science we don't understand. And you have to
Mhm.
like, incorporate that into all these performances that you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, right? So like for example, like when you were saying like isekai and stuff, especially if like you're one of the people who gets isekai'd into the other world, like maybe you can't pronounce like some of the words correctly, right? Like so or like, of a stall or something. Or yeah, like you're gonna have like different reactions to a food that is maybe native to like this world in particular and nothing like it exists on your world and stuff like that. So yeah, like definitely. Like you have to think about how that world works, especially when you're in an isekai, for example.
Mm. And stuff like Abstinence of a Bookworm, where you guys are in those fancy worlds, really does set the stage for what you might encounter later in the series like that. And I know, Sky, with the way things are these next few years, you're probably going to have more another world, like more isekai stories to tell.
Mm.
And I can't wait to see what happens when you do, because as I said before, maybe the same rules don't apply in these isekais as well as the regular world does, if you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would like love that for that to happen for sure. Like anytime like I get to play a character where like their world is like pretty different like than ours, I'm always so interested or I'm like I actually like especially for like going back to like Ashlyn and like School Bus Graveyard, like learning about like the Phantom Realm like through Ashlyn's eyes and like stuff like that. Like that was really cool. Like there's like physics to it, like stuff like that. I'm like, dang, I'm gonna need to sit down for a minute with this to like figure it out so I make sure I'm saying like it with confidence instead of like uncertainty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And if I can add to that, some of the stuff that you see in like the comics, like, can I give you an example? Take on the Avengers with Doctor Strange and Thor, and some of the shows that I've seen where the Avengers are fighting to protect threats and all that stuff, especially with the movies like Strange, like they fight physical threats, but there's a number of mystical threats out there. And sometimes, science is like, and sometimes Tony Stark be saying like, oh, magic is just science we don't understand yet. you know, and listen, not even kind of like sometimes I have like back when I was in school. We had a magician. His name is Magic Mike. He be performing stuff. Like I didn't understand magic at first as a kid, because as a kid you really don't understand much. But growing up as an adult, like I sometimes I like to do research on these things. I like, just poking around, putting on my detective hat, see I can like find any information. Trying to understand like is magic really a science we don't understand, or is it something like completely different from what we know now? And it's the same thing with you guys doing these other world shows. Like, oh well, shoot! Like, what's the secret behind the magical stuff that we see these days? Because I think it's really just science. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to keep doing some research, but I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
No, yeah, like I think that is like super cool, and I feel like a lot of like people who do create like their own worlds, like they do have like their own rules like for their worlds and stuff like that. So no, I just think that's interesting that you want to like look into that more, right? Because some people like I can just take things at blanket value instead of wanting to have interest or like learn more about it. So I think that's really cool.
Hey, listen. On my days off, sometimes I just want to do research on things.
Yeah, that's good. That's like a good like hobby to have, figure out stuff.
Listen, when it gets loud throughout the week, one of my days off, I just kind of just relax and feel like, I need to go. There's something that interests me. I do want to
Mhm.
look it up for a few minutes.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of rare for people to say that they like doing, so I'm like, that's cool.
So, yeah, listen, even doing the tiniest little bit of research, it may not be like beneficial to what you're doing now, but it may be later in the future.
Yeah, yeah, definitely like picking up knowledge. Knowledge is power, so
There's nothing wrong with that. And reading is fundamental as well. So, last question, and then we'll be in section three. Now, looking across all of your characters, is there one line, one scene, or one recording session that reminds you exactly why you fell in love with voice acting?
Ooh, oh my gosh. That is so hard. I think I think I had that like, with one of my characters that I'll like talk about and then another one recently, so maybe I'll like talk about both. But yeah, I think um for sessions, I would definitely be Yugiri. That really that first session meant like a lot to me. It was like my first like really big like session. And like it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, like maybe I can like be a professional like voice actor, right? Because I had, before that like done more like indie work and like stuff like that. So I was like, maybe I'm gonna just be indie or like whatever, whatever, and that's okay because I really love voice acting. But then I got Yugiri, and then I got to be in that session and like work with like the director, who ended up being like my coach because I really liked her direction and like stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I want to learn from her more. And then like the client as well, and like learning how to like do an online session for a longer period of time that wasn't just indie, right? There was a lot of pressure like doing that too, making sure the recording was good. So yeah, like that moment, like it really was like, okay, like maybe I can like be a professional voice actor. And then for like, favorite like scenes that I've done recently, again, like going back to Ashlyn, like was a scene like from like one of the episodes, and thankfully it's out so I can like talk about that episode. But it's when Ashlyn is finally revealing to her dad about like the phantoms and the phantom realms and like everything that they've been experiencing, and like she's finally being vulnerable. So yeah, like that was like to her dad, and like that, like just like that, like meant so much to me, and like I connected to that, having like something happen to me like as a kid, and like telling my parents and like being vulnerable with them and like having their support is like something that I really connected with like as an actor, like with Ashlyn. So that's definitely like one of my like favorite scenes, and like again connecting why I like acting, right? Because you can connect to your life. Sometimes some people are like, be careful with that because, it can make you feel too much. But I felt like, it was just easy to do that in that moment because I've been through that, right? In a way. So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and, and the reason why I asked, and the reason why I came up with that question, because sometimes when you do like those first auditions, you might want to go look back and see like, wow, I really did this back then when I first started out, and you compare it to what you're doing now, as in how can I try to do better?
Hmm. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Because I know some nights, I know Sky, because I know Sky, sometimes you do have those moments where you want to look back at what you did in your scrapbook.
Yeah, that is so true. I have done that before. Like I've gone on my casting call club account and like gone back to like the very first page and I'm like, ooh. So like I'm like, okay, I have improved, okay? So I'm like, it's okay.
And it's listen, life is also remembering about the good stuff and the bad stuff. So just look back and see what you've done and be like, wow, I really did this. Okay. Oof. It's been a long time since I've done that. So
Yeah.
might want to try something new. So
Very
keep doing
true.
it. So yeah, keep doing it, Sky.
Thank you.
So well, I hope you're ready for this next session. This next one's gonna be important, okay?
Yeah, yeah, let's go.
So, section three is about your heritage and representation, your heritage. So, this is going to be a two-part question. Oh, before we continue, are you enjoying our discussion so far?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, it's been very fun. So
There you go. Oh, now, this is a two-part question. Now, as a proud Mexican American performer, your heritage is one part of who you are. In what ways has your cultural background shaped your perspective as a storyteller, if at all? Part two.
yeah.
We're seeing more Latino and Latina talent entering voice acting than ever before. What excites you most about where the industry is headed? What work still remains?
Yeah, so I think thankfully like I've like thought about this in like the past and I think I've finally like made that connection and I like love that I can make this connection now. But my grandpa actually was a huge like storyteller like growing up. And I've always loved stories, right? And I think I only made this connection like after he passed. But
I'm sorry.
yeah, no worries. Like thank you so much. But I think like he was like a big reason why like I love stories because he really knew how to get your attention and he was always about like all the details and like stuff like that. And like a lot of his stories were about like growing up in Mexico, why he came to America, right? Like for his family, he's like for you and like stuff like that. And I think that didn't really like connect to me that much until like after like later on like kind of recently. So I think like that storytelling like aspect is something that I like carry into like voice acting too because we are telling a story, right? In all these different characters, all these different worlds. Um, and like so yeah, that's like definitely like one part of it. But another part that I think is a huge part of like my that I like to say is like a huge part of my culture and like identity is like my hard work, and like my work ethic and stuff like that. So a lot of my family members, they worked very hard to be like where they were. Sacrifices is a huge thing, like family is a huge thing. And like a lot of my family members, like they were very talented in their own ways and like they had like dreams of like for themselves or had to give up their dreams because they had to take care of like a family member or like they had to take on the woman of the house role and stuff like that. So like all that kind of stuff, like I carry with me, right? Like I gives me the power to do what I want to do. And seeing how they worked hard, right, for me kind of inspires me to also work hard in everything that I do. So like, besides before voice acting, I always wanted to give everything in school, all my other extracurriculars like 100%. Was like a huge thing too. Because, a huge thing that my grandparents would always tell me and like my parents too, was that if you work hard, like it'll pay off, right? So like, work hard work gets results. And they showed me that, right? And like from their life, they're like, right, if like if you work hard, like you can have like a nice life for yourself, like you can get like things that you want and like stuff like that. So that like work ethic like has stayed with me to this day. And yeah, just like a lot of like core values about like family and like stuff like that. So like I do care about my family a lot, like make sure to have family time. um yeah, I like hanging out with my parents, like not all the time, obviously, now that I've moved away. But I think my parents are cool. So, and they had me when I was like quite young. So, we're kind of like we can still like do like things together. There's like some connections that we have, like especially like through like music, and like stuff like that. Yeah, and then sorry, I'm like I was trying to think of like the next question. And then going on to like representation, I'm very excited, right? I'm so excited to see that there's now like a lot more like Latino and Latina like voice actors, because I feel like growing up, like a huge reason now, like I've done a lot of like reflections as I've like gone like later into my journey on like why like I never thought like voice acting could be for me, just because I early on when I liked all these sort of things, like I didn't really like see like myself in like the voice actors like on panels, and I think it wasn't like consciously like me like, oh, like I don't see myself there. Yeah, I think it's just something that are like, oh, right, like this might not be for me or something, or like it's just not something that's possible for me to do, right? If I don't see myself in it, right? Because I feel like we get inspired by people who look like us. I think like that's like the main thing what I'm trying to say. So now that there's just so many of us in the space, like I'm so excited for all of our stories to be told, because all of us have different experiences, like whether you come from like, your parents just came here, or you're second or third generation Latino. All of us have different experiences and stories to tell. So I'm just really excited. I feel like, some things that I guess, I would like to see happen more in like the entertainment kind of area, is just like more of our stories and a more diverse repertoire of stories, right? So like instead of just kind of circulating our culture on like the Day of the Dead, like we have other parts of our culture that I feel like should be showcased, or like kind of centering our stories just on family, like maybe something else, right? Maybe we're moving away from family and like in the story, right? Or different Latino stories, like how to showcase like there's different ways Latinos could look like, right? We come in like different like colors and like stuff like that, and like looks and ethnicities too. So yeah, I'm just like I want more of it, right? And I want, instead of us just being like side characters or something like that, like main characters, and showcasing us more in like hero like roles, like would be amazing. So yeah.
It's nice that you said that, Sky. I will say a couple of things first. I think as far as I'm concerned, I've seen stuff that Caitlin Glass and Sean Gann are doing. They're trying to like they just had a panel with talking about diversity and voice acting, because now there's more of y'all coming to the States to do more work like that. Because some of those other places that you guys are originally from, they don't have all those studios and everything. And I want to tell you this also. There was an article that I just saw. I think it was 2 days. Yeah, 2 days ago before I went to work. I think you're familiar with the whole thing with Marvel and Disney. What's going on? There's something that kind of caught my attention, and let me say this, and I think you'll agree with me with this guy. Everybody has opinions, okay?
Hmm.
Everybody has opinions. So what I saw in that article is that they canceled Wonder Man after one season. And I was trying to figure out why did they cancel Wonder Man, and then when Marvel was going to continue with the whole like Avengers Doomsday, they got rid of Blade, and the person doing Blade eight is they left. He's done because they never they if you guys want to do, y'all would have done it by now. But and
Yeah.
I think and here's the thing, and so, another thing that I also saw it also caught my attention. There seems to be like a growing theme. There seems to be a pattern going on here. with a lot of like, and, same thing with I want to make sure I stay on you, but I also want to talk about my experience as well by looking at that stuff as too. I want to make sure I'm doing my thing. There has been a pattern of all these lead roles that other races are doing, and somehow they just get scrapped and they don't actually get to do it. And it's like, well, so what's the point of like casting us in these roles if you're just going to cancel us after one season that you never do the movie? We see a lot of that stuff happening, like, with when they announced Avengers Doomsday and they're bringing like, Steve Rogers back, and now they're trying to sideline Anthony Mackie as Captain America. You know, it's it's a lot for me to like really think about. Like I said, sometimes, and you just gotta make sure that you stand on what you believe in. And
Mhm.
you see, and other thing too is like, stuff like the Princess and the Frog and Soul, like like the Princess Tiana was only in there for like at least a good 30 minutes, and then she was a frog for the rest of the movie. And I was like, huh, I actually thought of that way. I was just watching the movie because I actually enjoyed the movie, but I didn't think hey, Sky, sometimes I have a tendency to skip over, like, no matter how much research and detective work I do, sometimes there's always that one piece that I'm missing here.
Mhm.
And it's very crucial. And then you got like the 2020 movie with Soul, like, at the beginning, they had like, Joe Garner. He was like a good 30 minutes into the movie, and then for the rest of the movie, he was a spirit. And then the person who was Tina Fey, who did 22, she was Joe Garner. It was a white person as Joe Garner for the rest of the movie. Yeah, there's a lot that I really hadn't had a chance to consider. And so when I brought this question to you, I was like, you think, because I was thinking, Crunchyroll, okay, sure, they had a few ups and downs. They're doing the best they can, trust me. The way I've been hearing Caitlin Glass and Sean on Gang, they've been very genuine with what they're trying to do. Thing is, I don't want to just go with what they're saying and then, oh shoot, I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet. I don't want to like, sometimes I want to quit while I'm ahead. I want to quit while I'm ahead. I don't want to get my hopes up. But they're doing the best to get their stuff out there without like, because I know, let me give you an example, like Apothecary Diaries. Sean Gann, he went to Japan and started to understand like the whole point of Apothecary Diaries. It makes sense to have an all Asian cast in Apothecary Diaries because we've seen the history with Chinese medicine and everything. And for you, Sky, I think maybe they should do something about Mexican culture and Crunchyroll, but sometimes the fandoms can be a little bit toxic and they always got something crazy to say. Like, screw them. They're just people who just want attention. And I think us as human beings, we've got to find a way to tell these stories, no matter what's like what uh, people listen. There's always going to be people who's going to critique you on your performance. I will say that, but it's how you enjoyed it is what counts. But I just want, and I know I kind of rambled on about that situation that I ran into on Friday. But I just wanted to know your thoughts on how things are progressing with that stuff, as far as bringing like more Mexican rules and more like minorities into the voice acting space, so they can have more lead off shows like that.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like, if we're not gonna get it with like these bigger like companies and like stuff like that, like I think now's the perfect time to kind of put a light on like more like indie pilots and like stuff like that because they are really talented people, right? Maybe like they stopped working for a bigger studio and now they want to do their own project. So when I see like something that's super interesting, like pilot wise, or like if they're like casting for it, I was like, oh, I want to support this. Or at least if I, don't audition for it because like, they're not doing auditions or something, I'll retweet it, right? Because I feel like now it's going to be in our own hands to do it, right? If we can't rely on like, bigger companies to give us that representation, then we should create it for ourselves. And I think,
Mhm.
we're starting to like see that. I think there was like this one film, I forgot what it's called, but I guess like it didn't get greenlit with DreamWorks, but there was an uproar like from fans who like wanted to see it because it was based on like a Thai like legend, like so yeah, that blew up and now like they found someone to help make it with them, right? Because everyone was like, no, I want to see that. I'm like, I wanted to see that too. I remember also being sad because I was like, that's different. That's new, right? Compared to all the other stuff that we've been getting, right? I feel like a lot of the stories that we're kind of getting, it's not as new. I think people there's just stuff that's getting like rebooted or like I don't know, it's like the third movie of it instead. But I think what people really want, and I wish that the bigger companies would see is difference and like seeing other people's experiences and something new, right? They want to learn about other things, like right? Like there's also like K-pop Demon Hunters. They did not think that was going to be successful, but then it did. It was successful and people were still able to connect with a Korean experience. So, I think there's just a lot of times where like they just think about the money aspect and not really about how people are going to actually receive it, right? Because I would have been super excited to see the new Blade. Like my dad was a huge fan of Blade like growing up, so I remember like watching it on the TV. So I'm like I was excited. I was like, "Yes, this is so cool." So I'm like, "Why? Why are they doing that?" When people want to see it, they want to see themselves be represented on screen and they should have that chance like everyone else, right, who has maybe had their chance already. So I feel like maybe the answer, and I wish it didn't have to be this way, right, where now we have to do it ourselves, but is to like support the stories that we want to see, right, especially if they're being made by, an indie studio and like stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's still a lot of work that needs to be done. It's not. I will say that it's still going to take time, and I know people are still kicking and dragging their feet this year. Like we're in
yeah.
2026, we're in 2026, and they're still kicking and dragging their feet. Like
Yeah, it's
like
like,
what's in the
oh,
like? Come on, y'all! Like we want y'all to get with the program, but y'all just pulling us down instead of just hearing us out. But that's a discussion for another day. But the best thing we can do is to like if you want something done right, we gotta do it ourselves. And here's the thing, Sky. You guys out there, you guys are doing the best you can out there. You guys are working with directors who are willing. Caitlin Glass and Sean Gann, you are working with these people to make them understand. Hey, we want to try to put more culture into these shows. Just spend more time. And I know you don't see him in person like that, but 'cause I do have plans to ask Caitlin about that stuff when I get a chance to bring her on here, so we can talk more about diversity, because that's really a crucial thing. And that's the whole thing too. I'm not just talking about you guys' journey of voice. I'm also talking about y'all heritage and what y'all plans to make amazing stuff for people, because there's so many people, diverse people out there who wants to be like, hey, I can be this person without any no backlash. And it's still backlash going on today, because I was like, "Ugh." Yeah, you get it.
yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Next up is another two-part question. Okay. Now, growing up, did you see people who looked or sounded like you represented in animation and games? If not, how has that influenced the way you approach your own career today? And part two, imagine a young Mexican American kid right now watches this interview and dreams of following in your footsteps. What's the one piece of advice you hope they never forget?
Yeah, so I would say like for like the first one, I think I kind of talked about it a little bit in like the previous question. I'm not sure like if, I ever like saw like, other like Latino voice actors like growing up like that much. Like not that I remember, again, like maybe I was young, so I just didn't know or I just didn't do the right research and things, but I just felt I didn't see myself represented or I didn't know people like were um like my like ethnicity or not like that much. So I feel like it was really rare like when I would see it and I'd be like, oh, okay. But then I feel like, later on, like I feel like maybe like a couple like years ago, I think it started, there was like a shift and things like that. So that really like changed like my perspective and it kind of helped me like feel more inspired like to keep going, right? Because I saw like these people, these other people of color that got to be really successful and like their careers blew up and all that sort of thing. So I'm like, oh right, like, this is like a new like era of like, diversity and like things like that. So after that I just really felt inspired to like keep going because I saw, now that there's just so many more of us in the community, that, it really helped me, like, not to feel like I wasn't alone, right? Because there's just so many of us now. And, to be kind of almost like close to where, I want to be like as a professional or like, doing more projects and things like that makes me happy because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing the thing that, I didn't think little me could do or that it was a possibility. So, and it's all because of like those other fellow voice actors who I saw like doing the thing by being in professional work, being in anime and like and keep going in their career that, why I kept going, right? And I felt inspired. Um and as for like the second question, I think, a huge thing that I would tell people like who want, who want to follow in my footsteps is to, remember to also do like something for yourself. I think in our culture a lot of the times like sometimes our family is our strength, but sometimes our family is like can be a little bit of a of a little hindrance sometimes because they do want what's best for us, but sometimes like they kind of push us to do what's going to help us be successful or like survive and like things like that. And like sometimes like we kind of want to push back. I know I was like that for sure. But I think the most important thing is like to remember like who you are as well. Like yes, you can listen to like your family's like needs, especially if like they need extra help and like things like that, but to also remember to have something for yourself. So if voice acting is that thing that you want to do, yeah, just like make sure that, if you want to like go full force into it, that you do have something on the side to do, right? To help you pursue voice acting as well, because, it is a process and it takes a lot of time. Right. And you have to also prepare yourself and like buy training and like stuff like that. And like that costs like some extra money. So, I would be sure that you have something on the side that you do and maybe you like two things, right? Like someone like me, like I didn't think I was going to like what I do, but on the side, but I kind of do sometimes, even though I do like voice acting more. But yeah, so I went to, I got my bachelor's degree in English and I have like my master's degree in English, because I really liked English growing up. So I was like, you know what? If it all fails, I at least have this, right? But everyone's experience is different, right? If you obviously don't want, if you want to do like acting in school instead, you can do that too. But just, be prepared to also have something else on the side as well. But at the end of the day, my big advice is to remember to do something for yourself too, because we can get lost in our family responsibilities sometimes. So yeah.
You heard Sky. Go listen to her. She's giving y'all some advice here. Go do it. Sorry, I'm speechless. That's enough for that section.
You're good, you're good.
That's supposed to be your moment, not mine to be preaching. I already did that from the previous two-part question. So we're getting close to the end. So I see in section 4 there's 3 questions, but I think for number 17, I was like, yeah, I think we already done most of that stuff. And you answered most of that. So let's just do 15 and 16. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So beyond the booth. All right. So here comes the two-part question. Now, voice acting often means giving life to characters that fans will remember forever. When someone says,
Mhm.
"Hey, your performance helped me through a difficult time," what does that mean to you personally? And part 2, you're also a singer, if I got this correct, right? You are also a singer and creative artist. Now, how have those different creative outlets influenced the emotions and musicality you bring into your voice acting performances?
Mm. Okay, yeah. So I would say for like the first question, oh my gosh, like I think the first time I hear that, that would mean so much to me. Just because I know, like as an anime fan when I was younger, yeah, I always would say like anime like saved me like from like my like dark times that I've had in like my past, like when I was younger. So like people's performances also have like changed my life or like saved my life, and like there's some that I remember to this day. So for me, that would kind of make it all full circle. And then after, I have that interaction, I'd probably like go home and like have like a tear would drop in my eye, or really start crying, and be like, oh my gosh, that meant so much to me to hear, and like all that. Because yeah, like that's kind of like a big reason why I also like to do this, right? I hope that my storytelling or my character or like my acting, can touch people's hearts and resonate with them. So hearing that would mean the world to me, that I, helped someone in some sort of way, because I also like, helping people too. So yeah, that would mean so much. And then as for the second question, yeah, I feel like for like singing in particular, my mom would always say that I could like hum a tune before I could talk when I was little. And I feel like, yeah, I think my first kind of like love was like singing, even though I never like took a professional class or anything or all that sort of stuff like that. I just like love to do it, so I would like sing all the time, sing all my songs, and like yeah, my family would get like kind of annoyed about it. They'd be like, "Please stop singing." um, so when I kind of got into voice acting, I feel like it kind of helps now, and when I think about it, because sometimes you do have to be ready to mimic exactly what you said. And the lines are like, "Ooh, I really like that. We're gonna play it one more time, and can you repeat that exactly?" And I'm like, okay. So yeah, and then people have said like, "Oh, like you're really good at like call and repeats and stuff like that." I was like, really? And I think that kind of goes back to like singing and stuff, because I think I would try like just for fun to kind of mimic like the artist's way of singing, or like Disney music from like Aladdin and stuff like that. Or so I think I didn't know that would help me back then, but I guess it has been helping me a little bit.
Mm, well, you do have a good voice, so I was gonna.
Oh, thank you.
And your parents made you stop singing. Why did they make you stop singing? Come
Well, I
on.
mean, it could get annoying after a while, I bet. But I still sing now, so it's okay.
Because and since you do sing, have you seen like any like anime openings for shows? Wait, actually, you haven't gotten to that point yet, haven't you? Um, well, because I was thinking if she does sing, she's got to do like some singing for like shows and games, does she? That's what I thought.
Yeah, so yeah, no, I haven't like done like an anime opening like yet. Like that'd be like so crazy actually. But I have done like some singing work like for indie projects and stuff. Like I did like a song for like a game trailer. And again, it's like a project that I don't think the trailer is out and you can like watch it on YouTube, but I don't think the game has like finished yet or anything like that. Um and then yeah, so I think I did like two songs for them, and then another song that came out like in the game that was going to come out in the game. And then recently I worked with someone who I had like met from a game jam. And they're actually like a producer like for music and like stuff like that. And they're like, "Hey, like, yeah, I liked your voice acting and like stuff like that. Like, I was wondering, like, do you want to make a song together?" And like they had all the stuff like with already, like they had like the track, and they wrote like the lyrics and like stuff like that. And then I was like, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, like, and then after we're done, like, you can like post it like wherever you want and like stuff like that, to help you and like all that kind of stuff. So I was like, cool. So that was really cool. We were kind of inspired by like Evanescence, and he kind of wanted it to be like a song for like the Devil May Cry, like, I think like the first season or something, like the first episode. So yeah, he kind of like had that inspiration like from that like first part of it. And that was really fun. So, and then we're actually working on another song, I think, like for fun too. So, yeah.
Well, shoot, I want to listen to it when you finish.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the first one is on my website too, and then it's on YouTube, but yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, I'll make sure to take a listen to it. Well, you should keep singing more songs. This is why I go back to saying, like, voice acting isn't all that you do. You guys got other careers out there.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's funny that you say that, but yeah, I actually finally started like going to see like a singing coach like for the first time like in my life. So, yeah, that's been super fun and like, improving like the skill and like stuff like that. So, yeah. I hope to, one day do like a song for like a bigger game or something. I feel like that would be so cool. But yeah.
Well, Sky, I'm just going to sit back and wait, okay? I'll be patient.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will be patient. Well, we're at the finale now. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. So this is gonna be a fun question. I decided, I was thinking about skipping this one. I was like, nah, let's make this memorable for Sky. Now,
Okay.
imagine every character you voice gathered in one table. Which two would instantly become friends? Which two would clash? And where would Yugiri fit into all of it?
Oh my gosh. Um, Funnily enough, I feel like Kokoto and Ashlyn would kind of be the ones that would clash a bit just because Kokoto is very chill about everything and kind of like laid back and I think she'd want to be the leader, but Ashlyn would be like, "No, you should not be the leader. I'm gonna be the leader. Like, I don't trust you." Like, so they'd be like fighting over like who gets to be the leader or not. In any situation, maybe it's an escape room or something. um, and then for like friends, it's hard to see like Wilfried. He's like a little. I don't want. Okay, yeah, he is like a little brat sometimes. So I'm like, I don't know if he would be friends with any of my characters. Hmm, okay, maybe like I'm thinking there's another character that I play in Ascendance of the Bookworm, so maybe like Angelica, she's like this knight character, and Forensica from Paths Nowhere. I feel like they could have a good chat. I feel like Angelica would want to like learn more about forensic pathology. She's like, "All right, tell me." She's like, "I'm not doing very good in my studies, so can you teach me something?" And then I feel like Yugiri would just be kind of like standing she would be like entering the room being like, I don't know where to go. Like very, very like shy. I'm like, where do I fit in? Like, I don't know. So I think she'd just be kind of like assessing the situation and kind of like, shit, where I don't know, what's a good spot to like go in, or maybe she just sit at the very end of the table like by herself and wait for everyone to like stop talking. If that makes sense. Cause yeah, she's very hesitant about new folks.
Oh man, wow. That sounds like fun. I would love this. I would love to see that if you got them all together like that.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool. I just wanted to ask you that because it sounds like she would have fun with that question.
Yeah, I was like, that's an interesting question to think about. So I was like, okay, like yeah, like I knew who would hate each other, but I was like, who would be friends? But yeah.
I think the reason why I'm doing because I said I think I should have more questions like that for future guests when they have, especially the VAs, so we can say get around at one table, who would get along or whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's like fun. That's like a new question. I feel like I haven't heard question in a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then it works.
I feel like it does. It makes you think.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, let's get on to the rest of the finale. Now, I know I'd be asking a lot of futuristic talk. 10 years from now, when people look back on Sky Santa Cruz's career, what do you hope they'll say wasn't just your greatest role, but your greatest contribution to the industry?
Hmm. Yeah, I would say, I would hope like I have like this message of like remembering to be kind to yourself because I feel like in this industry, especially like and then I'm still learning this myself. Like I think we can all be kind of hard on ourselves, right? Because, maybe we compare ourselves to like others and like things like that. But I think it's like really good to remind yourself to look back at where you came from and really like be proud of like the work that you're putting out there. And I think like if you're kinder to yourself first, I think that energy just kind of goes, it spreads to other people as well, right? You can be also like, nicer to others as well and like bringing this positivity into this space. And yeah, and I think like another thing I would hope is that I can be like a good representation like for the Latino community and stuff like that. So like even just, saying that would mean a lot to me because I feel like when I was younger, yeah, like in like my schools I went to predominantly like Latino like dominated like schools and stuff like that. We would all kind of like compete like on who was like more Latino enough and stuff like that. So I feel like that would mean the world to me that I could be a good like representation for people, or that my work has like touched them or reminded them of a family member and like things like that. Because yeah, like definitely when I get the chance to play a character like from my culture, like I am leaning on what I know, my family members and my experiences like with them. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And guess what? I'm gonna be rooting for you guys as well. Keep telling those amazing stories and just keep doing your thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One last question and then we'll be done. Now, if you could leave our audience with one message about chasing dreams, embracing your identity, and believing in yourself, what would that message be? You probably already know the answer because you said it, but go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like it's a common thing, right, that I've been saying, but like, yeah, like remember to be kinder to yourself, right? We all have like times of like where we don't feel our 100% best, but it's best to be kinder to yourself, right? Because like it's just you and yourself against the world sometimes, right? At the end of the day, when you go to sleep, like yeah, you may have significant others and like friends groups, but at the end of the day, like yeah, your kindness starts with like yourself for sure. And definitely, yeah, like I've also said this a lot of times throughout like the podcast, but like be patient, right, for what you want. And like not even like for a voiceover as well, but like patient that things like will work out like eventually, especially if you're putting the effort towards working towards your goal, right? I'm a strong believer that as long as you don't give up, that it will definitely come true. And I'm, a face for that. I was a regular, smegular person as well. Like, I did not think I would be doing this. So yeah, just be patient. Be proud of yourself is another huge thing. Be proud of yourself. I'm sure your younger self would be so proud of you. That's what I also like to think of sometimes. Think back to your younger childhood self. Did you even imagine that you would be doing this? And probably like, no, they would think it would be so cool that you're doing this and making them proud. So, yeah, final words.
Hey, it's good advice, good advice. And patience. Patience is a virtue. Slow and steady wins the
Mhm.
race.
Yes, yes.
So, well, I think that wraps up everything. I think you enjoyed yourself today, did you not?
Yeah, it was such a fun time.
It's sweet. Well, I can't wait to see what else you do. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. That means so much.